Okay. Welcome to the official episode 1 of Exile Custom Baits channel. And this week we are talking about propeller style baits. So, still, I haven't got the format of this whole thing worked out, and I don't really care. We're just going to talk about it. So, let's dive into a little bit of the history of propeller style baits and where they are today, as opposed to where they've come from. And then we'll look at just a couple of baits that I've painted and what you can do with a plopper style bait if you want a custom option, as opposed to all the other beautiful baits that are available out there, which there are many. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'll show you a close-up just now of a few different styles of baits that you can get, and then I'm going to put a few up on the screen, a few different options which you can get, and then that'll help you make your decisions. And guys, again, this thing is just to educate you. If you want to see how to fish them, what tackle you need, all of that, head back to the other channel. Go back to the Bass Fishing Basics channel, and you can go and see all of that. This week we actually did propeller style baits on the Bass Fishing Basics channel. But when we start getting into some of the other baits, just go and look on the playlist and look for the Tackle and Techniques playlist, and all the baits that we're going to cover are going to be in there. Right, good. Let's get into the history of this thing. So, propeller style baits, probably one of the oldest commercially available styles of baits that's on record. My research shows that they started developing propeller style baits as early as the early 1900s. Okay? And guys, the stuff I'm going to tell you about, the research that I've done, I go deep into the weeds with research. We are not going to do that because a lot of those baits are only available to collectors today. So we are only going to talk about baits which either A, started the craze, or B, are still available to us today. So I will mention a couple of those baits. There are hundreds of them. And when we go to the close-ups, I'll show you one or two of them, and it is what it is. Okay, cool. So 1900s. The companies that were mentioned there were Heddon and Creek Chub Company. It's not 100% clear which company came up with the first commercially available bait, but the first bait on record that was for sale, trumpets, maybe, Heddon Torpedo. That came out in 1920. Okay? Or 1925. 1925. My apologies there, yeah. And a lot of us, including me, would have thought that it would have been the Smithwick Devil Horse. I honestly thought that the Devil Horse was the first one. Completely incorrect. Devil's Horse only came out in the 1950s. So I honestly believe that the Devil's Horse was the first one. It's just in my mind, that's where it was. There was a couple of other companies that were quite big at the time that came out with their own version of that type of bait, the Devil's Horse type of bait, which is propeller on both sides. Those baits are no longer available. They are collectible baits. So for the purpose of what we are doing here, which is usable baits, they don't really play, but they deserve the respect for their designs. And I can't remember the names of them, guys. I apologize. Good. So I've spoken about two of the old school propeller baits with the Devil's Horse and the Tiny Torpedo. In the close-ups, I'm going to show you a couple of other styles of propeller baits. One is quite an old one, and I don't think it's even available anymore, but it's my favorite, so I'm going to show you anyway, because it's my channel, I can do whatever I want. And then, so that's the old school stuff. It's a kind of a walking bait style thing with the smaller propellers on it, that kind of stuff. All right, good. The new style baits, or what everybody thinks is a propeller bait now, the plopper style baits. Nothing new about it. I've just explained it to you. 1900s. Reinventing the wheel and coming. I'm not saying it's not a good bait. They are fantastic baits. But they've been around a long time, guys. So the plopper style baits, many different varieties and brands and stuff that make ploppers. One of the most famous one, obviously the Whopper Plopper, the Vita Sea bait. Fantastic bait. And more of a cross between a walking bait and a buzz bait. It's not what would have been considered a traditional style propeller bait, which is fine. New baits, more baits, the more the better. You know the rules, guys. He who dives with the most lures wins. Okay, that doesn't mean that the old school propeller baits are not available anymore. They are absolutely available, and they are still as lethal now as they were 126 years ago in some cases, 100 years in some cases, which is wonderful because it means that you are fishing with baits from history and they still catch fish. Hold on, old school versus new school. Here we go. So this is what would be considered an old school style propeller bait. This is a Rebel jumping frog. It is a fairly old bait. I don't even know if you can get them anymore, but this is my favorite guy. Okay? This is the more modern version of this guy. This is a Lucky Craft bait, and it's exactly the same. It's maybe slightly different shape body, hook hanger, 2 hooks, propeller at the back. It's not complicated, guys. Okay? Really isn't. So that then, through the years, through various different iterations, whatever, evolved into the Whopper Plopper, which is essentially just exactly the same thing with a different blade on it. That's all it is, guys. It's honestly no different, just a different blade. So that's it. It's really not complicated. And we are going to go back to the main camera. There's nothing more to discuss, guys. If you want to know any more about it, go and have a look at the Bass Fishing Basics channel, and you can learn everything that you need to know about propeller baits. That's going to tie it up this week for propeller baits. I hope you've enjoyed this short video, and we'll catch you next week with something else equally as interesting. Thanks for joining us, guys.